Hello, my friends. Today we're learning Baba Basra Daf Yudayin. We're going to start on the last line on Daf Tezayin Amud Beis. Ton Rabbanon. Shloisha itimon HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'olam hazeh me'ein olam haba. 3 individuals will zoiche in this world to taste olam haba in this world. Elu and these are the ones Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu. How do we know this? Avraham, it says b'chol. It says in the pasuk, "V'Avram v'okin bo b'Yamim v'Hashem berech Avram b'kol," everything to also tam the taste of olam haba. Yitzchak tichsiv bei mikol. It says also the lashon b'kol. It says v'oichal mikol, that he tasted from everything, also olam haba. Yaakov tichsiv bei kol. It says v'chiyesh li kol. So also if he had everything, he must have tasted olam haba. Shloisha lo sholot by Yitzhar. 3, the Yitzhar wasn't sholet on them. Elohein Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Tichsivu bakol, like we said before, bakol mikol kol. These lashonos of everything. That means that they didn't have Yitzhar. V'yesh oimrim af David didn't have Yitzhar. Tichsiv libi cholol bekirbi. There was empty from Yitzhar. Said more ve'idoch, the person who doesn't agree that David was also. It says v'libi cholol bekirbi. So the Gemara Tzaru do komitkar, it means that David was saying, my heart is empty from all the pain I went through. And it means, when we say that they didn't have Yitzhara, it means a certain level of Yitzhara. For sure they had nisyonis in this world, otherwise they were not tzaddikim, they were just malachim. Ton Rabbanon, Shisha lo yisholot boi malach hamovet. 6 people, they didn't die from malach hamovet, they died from Hashem. Ve'eluein Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Tichsibu, Bakol, Mikol, Koil, as we said before. And if Malach HaMavis was shoylet on them, it's a bad thing. And it's much more bakovadik to die from Hashem. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, Tichsibu, al pi Hashem, that they died al pi Hashem. Ask the Gemara of Miriam lo iksivbo. It doesn't say that she died al pi Hashem. So the Gemara, she also died by a kiss from Hashem. The Asya Shom Shom Moshe. It says by Miriam Shom. It says by Moshe Shom. So she also died like Moshe. Why do they not say it clearly? It's meguna to say that Miriam died from a nashika from Hashem because she was a female, and that's why we only learn it from Shom Shom. After they died, the worms didn't eat their body. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, Binyamin ben Yaakov, Binyamin the son of Yaakov, one of the 12 Shvatim. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, as we said before, all the blessings. So one of the blessings is that the Rimo Tolea shouldn't be shoylet on them. Moshe, Aaron, Miriam, Dichsibu al pi Hashem, and it's not bakovadik. And the reason why Rimo Tolea comes is because Rashi brings that the Rimo Tolea comes from the knife of Malach HaMoves, and since they didn't die of Malach HaMoves, they didn't have Rimo Tolea. Binyamin ben Yaakov dichsivu leBinyamin Omar Yidid Hashem ishkoin levetach olav. He'll lay in peace, and if you have Rimo Tolea, that's not lying in peace. Yesh Orim af David, there was no Rimo Tolea. Dichsiv sorry, also my skin ishkoin levetach will lie in safeness. The one who doesn't agree that David HaMelech is included l'choretz in first pasuk. No, that means David was asking that sorry ishkoin levetach, but it doesn't mean that he received it. 4 people in the history of humankind died because the Hashem promised that everyone should die, but not because of their averis. Ve'elu and Binyamin ben Yaakov, ve'Amram, Avi Moshe, the father of Moshe, Amram, ve'Ishai, Avi David, Ishai, the father of David, ve'Kolev ben David, the son of David, called Kolev. Ve'Kulu, all of these 4 Gemara, it's a Kabbalah that we know that they only died because of the Nachash. Lebara, except of Ishai, Avi David, that the Refarish Bekrother, the first apostle, they only died because of the snake. How do we know this? It says in the pasuk, "Ves Amosha Shom Avshalom Tachas Yoav al Tzova." Amosha, who was this Amosha? Ben Ish, he's the son of a man. V'shmoi Itro Israeli Asher boy al Abigail. Bas Nachash, he married Abigail, the daughter of Nachash, Achois Tzuria Ein Yoav. Now, Said the Gemara, "V'chi bas Nochoshi is Abigail, the daughter of Nochosh, v'aloi bas Ishai. She's the daughter of Ishai." It says about the sons of Ishai, Ach Yosem, and their sisters, true of Abigail. So we know Abigail is the daughter of Ishai. Why does it say bas Nochosh? Ela bas Mi, she's the daughter of the one Shemes that he only died be'et Yoshe Nochosh because of the snake. With the story with the apple, and that's the only reason he died. Otherwise, he didn't die. And it's a Lechura and Furush Pasuk, and the other three are only a Gemara. We know that means we have a Kabbalah that they died because of the Nochosh. Akron Aloch HaShuftfim, we have our mind on you in Perik HaShuftfim, and we want to come and learn you again and remember you and Zoichet Mikayim, all the Ilch HaShutfus, and all the Alochos, and all the Dinim, and all the ideas that we have in here. It says the Mishnah, Lo Yachfor Odom Bori Somuch LeBori Shel Chaveroi. A person, it's two people, neighbors, and one of them has a pit of water, and his friend wants to build also a pit. He has to keep a distance. And it's not only a bor is the round one, but siach is long on one side and narrow on the other side. Veloi ma'ora is like a cave. Veloi amasamayim, no water, where you pull the water into the field. Veloi nivrachas koipsim, and not a pit that you do for making washing. And Rashi explained that you'd make two pits. In one pit you'd put dog's poop, and then you'd put the laundry for a while to soak in it, and then in the second one you'd clean it off. Elohim Kain, you're only allowed to do one of the things. Elohim Kain irchik mikoise chaveri, kept away from the wall of his friend. Shloisha tfachim, 3 tfachim, 1, 2, 3. Then you're allowed to build the pit, all these types of pits. The sod besid, and also he has to put on the walls sid. It's like plaster to make it stronger. Continue the Mishnah. Marchikim es hagefes. The gefes is a waste of the olives after you press it, and it's like toxic. There's a zevel, it's a waste of the animals. There's a melach, it's a salt. There's a sid, it's a plaster that also has like strong powers in it. There's a sloim, and the rocks, it's a type of rocks that you make fire from, and they have like a heat coming out of it. So all these things you have to keep away from the wall of his friend, because otherwise it's going to ruin the wall. And we're going to be gurus like the Gillian, the sod besid, and you have to put sid on the wall. Marchikim es hazroim, if you want to plant seeds. There's a machresha, if you want to plow the ground. There's miraglaim, we of people, the minakoisel, all the things you have to keep from the wall of your friend. Shloisha tfachim, 3 tfachim. Continue the Mishnah. Marchikim es harechaim shloisha. Rechaim is a grinder of wheat. So it has the rechaim, that's the bottom one, and the rechev's on top. Sorry, shechev is the bottom one, and rechev is on top. So you keep the bottom part 3 tfachim, so it's mina shechev from the bottom part. Shein arba mina rechev, the rechev with a smaller stone lying on top of the shechev that goes on top, and it's a tefach smaller than the shechev. So if you count from the rechev, it's 4 tfachim. There's a tanner on the oven, shloisha, you have to keep 3 tfachim from the wall, 3. Mina kalio, from the bottom part of the tanner, you'd build the base, and from the base, you'd keep 3 tfachim away. Shein arba, that's 4 tfachim in a safel from the top of the oven, because the oven went a bit narrower. The base was wider, and then the top was a tefach narrow on each side. So therefore, if you count from the safel from the top, you count 4 tfachim away. Says the Gemara Daf Yudzayin on the base. Potach bebor, the Mishnah started bebor. It says lo yachfor bebor samuch lebor shel chaveroi b'siem b'koisel, and then it says you have to keep away from the bor, but you have to keep 3 trachim from the koisel, from the wall. What's going on here? I should say that you should keep away from the bor, 3 trachim from the bor. Why did they finish and it say from the wall? Oma Abaye v'Itim Rav Yehuda. Abaye said, and some people said it's Rav Yehuda who says it in koisel bor sheninu. When it says that you have to keep 3 tfachim from the koisel, it means from the wall of the bor of his friend. Why did it say from the wall of the bor? It should say from the bor itself 3 tfachim, and we know the bor has a wall. So the Gemara Hokumash Malon, the Mishnah, by the way, wants to tell you something. The koifil boil, that the thickness of a normal bor of the wall of it is shloisha tfachim. And afkemina, why they're coming to tell you? If I come and tell someone I'm going to sell you a bor with a koifil, So the koisel has to be minimum 3 tfachim, and otherwise it's not considered a good koisel. Kedetanya, like we learned in the Brayso, someone tells his friend, I'm selling you a bar together with walls. The walls have to be thick, at least 3 tfachim, and that's why the Mishnah says min koisel to tell you derech agav this din. Itmar, we learned abolis moich betzad meitza. Reuben and Shimon, who are neighbors, and there's a meitza in between. The meitza is the border, and now Reuben wants to build a border, and Shimon doesn't have a border in his field, not like our Mishnah. Abaye Omar soymech, he put it on the border. Rava Omar eino soymech, you can't put it literally on the border. You have to keep a distance away. In a case where these fields are meant, it's normal to put a burr inside because you need to water the field with a burr because there's no other way to water the field. Everyone agree, you're not allowed to put it close because your friend also needs to build a burr, and therefore each one has to keep his distance. When the machloikes is when the fields are not meant for burrs. So you're allowed to put it close to your friend's field. He probably will never build a burr in his field. So I don't have to keep a distance. No, you can't. You have to keep a distance. His friend's going to tell him, like you decided, even though that your field is not meant for burrs, to make a burr. I might also want to build a burr in the future, and therefore please keep a distance. So it comes out, if it's pshat, then everyone agree that when it's soda asuyla burris, you're not allowed. The whole machlokes is when it's a burris she'ena asuyla, but when it's a soda she'ena asuyla burris, you need to keep a distance or not? Abaye says you don't, Rava says you do. Ikedarmi, some people learn the machlokes Abaye and Rava in a different way. The soda she'ena asuyla burris, if the field is not meant for burris, divra kol soymech, you're allowed to do it on the border because your friend, probably your neighbor, will probably never build a burr. Kipligi, when the machloikis besoda asula burrs, in a case where it's meant for building pits in it. Abaye Omar soymech, you're allowed to do it close to the border. Afilu l'Rabbanon, even the Rabbanon who hold the Amri marchikim esailin min burr esim b'chomesh amo. If you have a burr, and your neighbor wants to plant a tree, you have to keep 25 amos distance that the roots won't ruin the burr. Hossam over there, who the ba'idna, in the time, the konoto, when he's planting the tree, isel a burr, there's already the burr, so you're going to cause damage. Aval hochab, in our case, ba'idna the kochofa, when he's building the burr, less of a burr, his neighbor doesn't have yet a pit, so you don't have to keep any distance. Berava Omar, even in such a case, you're not allowed to do it by the border of Rabbi Yosi to Omar. Even Rabbi Yosi over there, who's Choylek on Rabbanon, who says, each one, the guy is allowed to have a burr in his field, and his friend can plant wherever he wants a tree, and he doesn't have to care about the roots. And when is that Hosom over there, the Beidna de Konota, when he's planting the tree, it's a tall, small, tiny tree. Listen to the Shorosh of the masculine burr. There's no roots yet to ruin the burr. It only grows much later, and that's already not my problem. Aval Hocheb over here, Omalei. Kol moro, every digging that you do to build your burr, the komachis that you dig, komarpis lilara, you're making my land weaker, and therefore you mazik me directly, and therefore please keep your distance. So it comes out, if you're the second chat, that everyone agree that if it's not asuyla burris, you're allowed to do it on the border. The machlokes says when it's asuyla burris. Now, we learned in our Mishnah, you're not allowed to dig a hole next to the pit of your friend. The whole reason is because your friend has a burr already. If he doesn't have a friend, you're allowed to do it on the border. So very good to the Loshen, the Omris, that the Shit who says that the Machlokes Abaye and Rava is only Besoda she'ena asuyla burris. Sorry, but the whole machlokes is besoda she'asuyla burris. But if it's ena asuyla burris, even Rava agrees you're allowed to build it on the border. Masnisin, we're going to say our Mishnah if your Rava is talking about besoda she'ena asuyla burris, and therefore you're allowed to build on the border if your friend doesn't have a burr. Elolach lishna lefi the other loshen in the machlokes and Abaye of Rava, the Omris. Besoda she'ena asuyla burris pligi, that the machlokes of Abaye and Rava is talking about wait soda she'ena asuyla burris. But in a case where it's a Asur Leberes, everyone agree that you're not allowed to build a pit. We don't have a kasha nicha, because he's going to say our mission is talking about B'she'ein Asur Leberes, and that's why you're allowed to do it. If there's no pit to your friend, you're allowed to build on the border. And Rava kasha, where does Rava agree that if your friend doesn't have a pit, you're allowed to build? Rava will answer you, or Itma Allah, we learned in our Mishnah, Omar Abai, that Abai himself explained the Itim Rav Yudah, and some people say Rav Yudah, we said that at the top of the page. Our Mishnah is talking about Mikoisel Borough Shininu. It's talking about to keep the distance from the wall of the borough of your friend. Meaning that your friend also had to keep away three tefachim distance, and that's where his wall is sitting. So we could see even he had to keep away even though that he was first, he had to keep 3 tefachim away. Ikadomri, some people say we're going to burst like the back. No, we didn't know Mishnah. You're not allowed to build a borough close to the pit of your friend. We learned on that. That means from the wall of your friend. That means because your friend also had to keep 3 tefachim away. Very good to the Lashon that the Machloikes of Abai and Rava is the Omer Besoda Asuya Liberis Divra Koilo in Soimech. Then a case where it's a field meant for digging holes, everyone, even if you're the first one to dig, you have to keep away. Maslis in our Mishnah, we're going to explain it, Besoda Asuya Liberis. And that's why the first one had to keep away. Because we could see that he also kept away 3 tefachim. But if the girl so that the Machloikes of Abai and Rava, the Omris, the Soda Asur Leberes, that the Machloikes is in a Soda Asur Leberes, and even the Abai says you can build on the border, but in a case where it's Ein Asur Leberes, everyone agree that you can build on the border. So he'll explain our Mishnah that the first one needs to keep away, even though that there's no bor. Micha is talking about where it's Soda Asur Leberes. Because even if it's Asur Leberes, you don't need to keep a distance, the first one who builds it. And Abai himself said that our Mishnah is talking about from the Koisel Chavera, because he also kept the distance. What's the case that the first one needs to keep a distance? Our Mishnah is talking about when they came to dig at the same time. And if they both came to dig at the same time, see, each one has to keep away 3 tefachim. If one of them came to dig first, he doesn't have to keep any distance away from the border between the fields. Toshma, come and listen. If the field's very weak earth, that falls that's not strong, each one could build by the border a bor. But each one who's building has to keep away 3 tefachim from the border and put on it plaster to make it strong. So we could see a kasha, even that the first one who builds has to keep a distance. It's a kasha on Rava. It says like shiny. Sorry, it's a kasha on Abai who says the first one doesn't need to keep a distance. It says shiny. It says clearly over here in the Brayos, it's talking about a field where it's weak. The Abai will agree they need to keep a distance. When did Abai say you don't need to keep a distance? When it's strong ground, when it's weak ground, he agrees you have to keep a distance. Said the Gemara, but my Karlo, the one who asked this kasha, what was he thinking? What was he thinking? Obviously, it says clearly in the Brayos, so we're talking about weak ground, so obviously you'll have different dinim. Said the Gemara, Bobby Odaim, it's Tzrichelei. The one who asked the kasha understood that when it says in the Brayos that it's a weak ground, the chiddush is not only because it's a weak ground you have to keep away 3 tefachim. It's saying even though it's a weak ground, you only have to keep 3 tefachim and no more. But if it's not weak ground, also you need to keep 3 tefachim if you come to dig a hole. And therefore, it's a kasha in Abai says you don't need to keep 3 tefachim. Let's see that inside. He understands that the chiddush of the Brayos that even though it's weak, you need to tell you they only have to keep 3 tefachim. I might have thought, when the Bobby Odain, since it's a weak ground, you need even more than 3 tefachim. Kamash Malon, they only need 3 tefachim, but also if it's not Bobby Odain, you need 3 tefachim, and therefore we have a kasha on Abai. And that the Gemara answers no, that dafka because it's Bobby Odain, that's why you need to keep away. Toshma, come and listen. Marchikim esagefes, you have to keep the waste of the olives, and the waste of the animal, and the salt, the plaster, and the rocks, and make fire. They bang one on each other and it makes a fire. From the wall of his friend, Gimel Tfachim, 3 Tfachim, Vesod Besid, like we go in the Mishnah, and he has to put plaster on the wall to make it isolated from this damage. The whole mashma is because there's already a koisel, so you have to keep a distance. Like a koisel, if there's no wall there, I could put it on the border. So it's a kash on Rava who says that if the first one who comes, you don't need to. Says more lo kileka koisel, even if there's no wall, nami lo yisomich, you're also not allowed to put it on the border. Velo mai kumash malon. Why did the Mishnah say dafka because there's a wall over there? Hakumash malon. This is what it's come to tell you. Dahani kosher la koisel, that these things cause damage to the koisel because they have hevel, they have a heatness that come out of them that cause damage to the koisel. But enochinami, even if there's no koisel, you have to keep a distance 3 tefachim, even if you're the first one who's coming to do it and there's no koisel, since it causes damage, you have to keep away 3 tefachim. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day and a blessed week and a blessed life.